Season 48, war number 4, and we are up against this alliance. And this time my team will be Dust, Werewolf by Night, and White Magneto. I will be taking Path 6 in Section 1, Path 1 in Section 2, and then I will be taking Nick Fury, Mantis, Kingpin, and Future Ant-Man mini-bosses, and that will be it for this war. So no boss action this time around, but that's fine. I do have a couple new fights for Werewolf by Night as well, and Dust will get some more action once again, just to showcase how good she actually can be. And starting off this war here, we have a Scorpion on the spiked armor and computational prowess nodes, and I am taking the fight with Dust. Now she doesn't bypass Scorpion's evade in any way, but since this node doesn't limit your parry stuns, I'm just gonna be utilizing those to get around the auto evade and the following counter hit. Now Dust may not be the greatest Scorpion counter, but she is poison immune, so that's nothing to worry about. And also the spiked armor node here doesn't really do anything to you most of the time, since the majority of her basic attacks are non-contact. Now Scorpion's health pool is pretty small, so I didn't really get to do a full ramp up here. I'm just gonna go for a parry heavy to trigger the sandstorm, and now special 2, and the fight is basically done. Now I didn't land many crits with it, but it did get me enough power to get the special 1 immediately. So I went ahead and followed up with that one, and that was enough to take him out. Had the full special 2 crit, or at least a few more hits, that would have been enough by itself, but even then, it's just a few more seconds wasted, it's not a big deal. Dust's damage output isn't the highest out of the mutant class, but she's not weak by any means. Now, next up here we have a Kate Bishop on the critical setup and aggression prowess nodes, and I'm taking this fight with Dust as well. Now, I did use a White Magneto pre-fight for this, so I wouldn't have to deal with Kate Bishop's Purify and Auto Evade. However, using a tactic champion, you wouldn't have to worry about it anyways, since every single tactic prowess does reduce the opponent's Purify ability accuracy by, I believe, 34%, so 3 of those prowesses would mean the Purify will not happen and you can parry and hit her just fine with any tactic champion, at least on this node or any other node that doesn't prevent you from lowering the opponent's ability accuracy. Now I did make a pretty big mistake here, and I accidentally blocked the special 1. I was being too cautious about dexing it, which I shouldn't have, since getting the tactic prowesses here is simple enough. And that ended up with me getting that passive cold snap on myself, which dealt a ton of damage. Now luckily she did not roll a perfect release bonus for the special 2, otherwise the cold snap would have been a critical cold snap, and had that happened I very well could have melted before I could finish her off, so I definitely did get lucky there. And now next up we have a Mangog here on the Never Back Down node, and I will be taking this fight with Werewolf by Night. Now he isn't really a great Mangog counter specifically, however, since you don't really need to hit the opponent that much, I will not be ramping up Mangog here basically at all with my combos, and just some blocked hits, triggering my Howl whenever I get the chance to do so, getting that specialty with the curse active, and the damage output on this guy is huge. A single specialty on this guy is already down to 20% and below that, and the rest of the ruptures are just melting him at this point. I only had to bait a single special 2 here, which didn't even deal all that much damage, and Mangog goes down. Less than 50 seconds on a regen node such as this one, and Werewolf just completely melted him. I gotta say, he's so powerful. Just too bad that the defenders can reparry you if you try to hit their block multiple times with a double medium champ. It's very unfortunate, and I do hope that they would fix it sooner rather than later, but for now, well, he's not gonna be at his full power. Now here I went ahead and switched my recoil masteries on for the next few Dust fights, just to get the most out of her, since the Bullseye boss previously showed me that having the recoil masteries on might just be the right play for her. She will only benefit from them. The only real downside is the slight bit of recoil damage you will take whenever you end your specials. However, with the damage increase she gets, you won't be taking that much recoil in most of the fights. Now this fight right here is a Bullseye on the buffet over time node, and I did put on a White Magneto pre-fight here as well, so I can just bypass the auto evade. I don't have to worry about that at all. I can just parry him and hit him while he's stunned, and that's a, well, very simple way around the annoying auto evade and the following counter hit. The game plan is to just get to a special 3 here, and then, well, melt him with a ton of specials. Or I guess I should say shred him with them, since you're basically just shooting a ton of sand his way, and yeah, that's gotta hurt. Special 3 itself here does some decent damage, but the actual heavy hit that she has is that big special 2. No crits here, but that's fine. Another special 2 immediately afterwards, and that was a 53k crit. And now I don't know exactly how the damage is spread around the special 2 hits, but I believe that would have been at least a 200k special 2 had all of the hits crit, and that was not even close to a full ramp up. I only had roughly 50 sand when I threw the special 3, so that can still go up way higher. Either way, next up here we have a Nick Fury on the Power Snack and 1 too many hits miniboss nodes, and I will be taking this fight with Dust as well. Now Dust does not have any way to counter the Power Snack node here, nor the Power Stings, so I will just have to play around those by myself, which isn't really a big issue, I guess. Now, just as a safety net, I went ahead and used an invulnerability boost, since the Power Snack node can at times cause the opponent to get the special 3 at moments where I wouldn't want them to. And with Nick Fury's, well, Fury buffs, the special 3 can hit extremely hard, so I'm not taking any chances of me dying here because of it. So I went ahead and just used the boost. And it's a very good thing I did, because I went ahead and accidentally dexed here, trying to bait the special 2 off, and that was enough to push Nick Fury to a special 3 of his own. Now, it's not gonna do any damage to me because I was invulnerability boosted, but eating the special 3 here was not really part of the plan. Either way, at this point I went ahead and used my own special 3 before pushing Nick Fury to his second life. Otherwise, if I pushed him there first, he would just remove all the sand passives, and then my special 3 wouldn't convert the sand into prowesses, costing me all of my damage ramp up. So now, with the prowesses already active and Nick Fury just pushed to a second life, I went ahead and just threw a special 2, which did a ton of damage, and now another one to follow up with. That was a 75k crit on the special 2 this time around, still not full ramp up, and that was only a single crit of the special 2. And at this point you can probably see just how much the recoil masteries are actually doing for her, and I would highly recommend running them if you have many dust fights in a row like I do here, because it really does make a difference. Now she doesn't need them for most of these fights, or any of these fights really, but getting in and out as fast as possible is usually the way to go in Alliance War. Now, this fight here is a Mantis on the Scared Stiff and Power Focus 2 miniboss node, and I am taking the fight with Dust. The game plan is to just nuke this fight with some special 2s, as you usually do with Dust, and that's about it. Ideally, I wouldn't be betting any special ones from Mantis, because then I wouldn't have to deal with the sleep passive, but I didn't do a great job with that, and Mantis did get to throw one. And immediately afterwards I got rooted as well, since I couldn't punish it in time. Luckily though, I was somehow able to avoid the heavy attack she threw, and I was able to save myself. Now at this point I just triggered the sandstorm early with my heavy attack, threw a couple special 2s, and the fight is over. No need to worry about the sleep if it can never trigger, if you just finish out the fight before it's a problem. And Mantis, well, she's not that threatening on defense. Special 1 sleep is basically the only thing she has, and if you play around it, or straight up just take her down before it's a problem, she's not all that difficult to deal with. Now next up here we have a Kingpin on the missing in action and power efficiency miniboss node, and I will be taking the fight with Dust, and I went ahead and used my last White Magneto pre-fight here. Now the pre-fight, as I said previously, isn't necessary to shut down purifiers, since tactic champions can shut it off with the tactic prowesses themselves, but still having the pre-fight on is a nice quality of life thing, since now you don't have to worry about your actual prowess count, it is just enough that you have them to shut down the actual indestructible from the tactic. Now the game plan here is to just start off by playing slow, stacking up the sand passives, playing around his specials and watching out for the falter debuff, slowly get into my own special 3 with as much damage ramp up as possible, and then once I get there, just let it rip with the specials and nuke the guy down. Now I did go ahead and use an invulnerability boost for this fight as well, just in case. I wasn't really sure how this fight would go to start off with, but this Kingpin is being very nice with his specials, so I don't actually need to push him to a special 3 on purpose to kinda try to get out of a sticky situation. And now, knowing that I still have the invulnerability boost, I went ahead and did a slightly risky play. I went ahead through my striker, followed up immediately by my special 3. The striker stun should be long enough for me to dash in before it expires, get the special 2 off, and if the special 2 itself didn't kill, well, while the sandstorm is active, the special 2's last hit will inflict a passive stun, basically allowing me to just cycle special 2's over and over until Kingpin finally falls, and yeah, it basically means as soon as I get to special 3 there with Dust, the ending of the fight is guaranteed, and unless I drop an input or something, the fight will end in my favor. Anyways, next up here we have a Future Ant-Man on the Polka Dot Power and Stunning Reflection miniboss node, and I will be taking this fight with Werewolf by Night, which is why I went ahead and took off the recoil masteries. Werewolf can be used with them, but since I am boosted, I would be losing a ton of health from the debuffs themselves, and I didn't really want the extra damage source here melting me throughout the fight. Now the game plan here is to just melt the guy with some special 2's and the ruptures. 2 special 2's is more than enough to take this guy down here, and yeah, there's nothing too special to mention here, to be honest. Now one tip that I can give you all for fighting Future Ant-Man is to just stop hitting him if he gets an armor up, try to go for an intercept immediately to remove it, and once he has 0 armor ups, you can continue comboing him like normal. The reason for that is that whenever he glances, he gains an armor buff, and the more armor up buffs he has, or armor ups in general, his chance to glance hits increases. So if you don't remove the armor ups by intercepting immediately, and just keep hitting him, the chance for him to gain more armor ups and more glancing just keeps going up and up and up until eventually he's gonna hit the mark where you're gonna get stunned on combo enders and all of that, and it's just not a fun time. Just play it slower, land the intercept after he gets an armor buff, and just keep doing that until the fight is done, and he's not all that difficult to fight anymore with basically any champion. As for the results, we did end up winning this war 199 to 9, so a pretty clear win, though it was a bit of a mismatch, and well, I can't complain about it since the latter half of the season will be a gauntlet of all the top alliances. Very much not looking forward to that one, but so far we are doing good, or decent, I guess.